coming to an end, let us discuss the last part of the whole discussion. Um, so I'll just give you a small example. For those who've watched Simba, it was a very popular movie. At the end of Simba, they had given you a teaser of Suryavanshi, which is Akshay Kumar's upcoming movie. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to give you a teaser of what's coming up in my next session. Okay, so this ending part, the last part, I'm going to be discussing in brief as to who benefits from MLOps, and in my next session, I'm going to be showing the end-to-end process that is going to be laid out in MLOps and how each of these people who I have mentioned over here will be benefited over there. Let's move ahead. Okay. We have different components of an organization that looks after the artificial intelligence domain. Okay, we have the subject matter experts, the data scientists, the model risk managers, machine learning architects are generally the heads of the whole process. Data engineers, software engineers, DevOps, everybody is involved. Let's briefly discuss about them and then we'll wrap it up for today. Subject matter experts. So if I am a company that works on anything, like we work on, like I'm a bank, for instance, okay? And there are certain policies that can come up. There are certain policies that can be determined by the bank, okay? Keeping in mind what the other banks are going on with and what the restrictions and layouts by the RBI is. I can come up with new policies. I can come up with some exciting offers. All this will only happen only when I have a very, very intelligent and a very well-versed person who knows the banking system in and out. That person is my subject matter expert. The subject matter expert is going to give me the problem statement if I'm the data scientist. Ki bhai mere ko ye chahiye. I need a model which helps me to predict whether this policy will work or not based on past data. As simple as that. Each time I work on something, I do some basic coding, he's going to come up and see, okay, this is how it's going to work. He is the business aspect of it, not the technical aspect of it. Okay. What comes after that? The data scientist. Okay. Now, technically, guys, we won't go by the slides because before the data scientist, the data engineer comes into play. So we'll just skew it around a bit. The data engineer is the person who has attended this meeting with the subject matter expert with his fellow friend, data scientist. Mr. Data Engineer, who by the way, FYI, is very secured and very happy in life because one of the recent articles, now this is completely off track, but I have to mention it. I was stunned to know this, that recent article on Times of India, I guess, Economic Times, they mentioned that a data engineer's job is never going to be hit by recession. It is recession proof because data is never ending, right, guys? Even during COVID, a data engineer had got a lot of data because everybody was sitting at home and binge watching, right? So there was a lot of data, a lot of online applications, shopping applications, Swiggy, Zomato. They've made wonders. So the data engineers will never be lonely in their life, you could say. So Mr. Data Engineer, who was very happy in life, has attended this meeting with Mr. Data Scientist. Okay, and the meeting was headed by the subject matter expert, who is a very strict person and has his layouts very crystal clear that this is what I want, this is what you need to give me. The data engineer straight away goes to the cubicle, sits there and starts working on different sources from which he can get the data for his fellow Mr. Data Scientist. Okay, fellow colleague is Mr. Data Scientist. Mr. Data Engineer and Mr. Data Scientist are working in parallel. Data Engineer, Mr. Data Engineer is bringing the data, creating a resource for the data and giving it to the data scientist. It could be done through any database management system like a MySQL, Oracle. Oracle has MySQL. So there are different components that are there. Mr. Data Scientist is going to work on this data. He's going to work on this data with his fellow friend, Mr. Data Engineer. They will be doing cleaning of the data. They'll be analyzing the data with the help of the subject matter expert at times. Okay. Then there will be, certain features which will be selected by the data scientist from the data. There will be data analysis which will be done based on which the feature selection will be done. Once this is done, the data scientist is going to sit with the machine learning engineer and then train the model. Okay, so all of this is happening within a team. Okay, so once this part is done, the machine learning engineer and the data scientist, they work together and now this model is ready for deployment. This model has to be deployed like in exactly a very similar way what I did a while back with Azure. Okay, if I go back, let me just quickly go back. So I'm Mr. DevOps, and I have been given a model by Mr. Data Scientist and Mr. Machine Learning Engineer. I go to Azure, I create a resource, I click on web application, I do all this that has been done. Once this is done, my model is ready. It's deployed. This model will have various logs. If you observe that there are various logs that can be tested, okay, there's an activity log that can be tested, and I can report to whom? My subject matter expert. That, buddy, see, this is where your model is not working, this is where your plan is working, this is the longevity of this project, this is the longevity of this idea. All this will happen, okay, just by inferring from that algorithm, from that whole process. The DevOps engineer has done this job. The model risk manager comes in. Okay, so Miss Model Risk Manager, she's a very, very strict person. She has some norms which are provided from the company's end that, okay, this is the auditing team that's going to come in. Please ensure that there are no discrepancies. There are reports that are created. Please do a proper risk assessment of everything, the data, the model, everything that the data engineer, the data scientist, the machine learning engineer, the DevOps engineer, whatever they've done, please do a detailed analysis and risk assessment and then give me a report. The model risk manager is very strict with that. Okay, so once the model risk manager is dealing with all these factors, what happens is the model risk manager immediately comes in and says that, okay, there is a potential risk that I see in this part of the deployment. What do we do about that? Okay, let's work on it. Why? Because ML Ops is creating, everything is happening in front of you. It's like a movie. Everything is happening in front of you. The logs are created. Everything step by step is being done. Automation is being done with human intervention to a certain extent, and everything is happening in front of you. You can trace the point. Now, this is where I again go back to the some of the initial points that I had mentioned: accountability and traceability. Anywhere a problem comes in, you should be able to hold. Okay, that is where the problem is. This is why this thing is not working. That is what the model risk manager would do. Last but not the least, guys, we have the ML architects. The ML architect is the boss. The ML architect is the boss. She is going to design the whole layout. Who does what amount of data is to be fed to what aspect, like how much is the data engineer going to work on, what is going to be the layout of the whole project. Like I said, what does an ML architect do? The ML architect is actually going to lay out the whole foundation. Look at this diagram. Looks like the top view of a building, right? Looks like the top view, a plan of a house, something like that. That is exactly what an ML architect would do. Okay, there will be data acquisition, there will be data processing, then there will be model engineering, then there will be execution. Once all this is satisfied, we'll deploy the model. Okay, so I guess there is some overlapping. I guess there is some part of the text which is missing over here. We'll take care of it when we share the features, when we share this entire slides with you. You will get a clear-cut idea that will be edited. Okay, so that is the whole idea. So just to sum it up, machine learning operations, what it is doing is that it is uniting all these people of an organization under one roof, under one platform, and enabling all of them to train a machine learning model to get the data. If you go from end to end, right from data acquisition all the way up to training deploying the model, which we just did using Azure, training it over and over again. Like if I give you the example, if I connect this web application of Azure, if I connect this web application of Azure with a real-time data, this confidence that you've just seen, or if I have a separate log that calculates the F1 score of this model, trust me, tomorrow if we have a meeting and if I show you the score, today maybe it's 98%, tomorrow it will be 80%. Then it may go below. If I connect it with a biomedical organization's continuous real-time data, they are doing research all the time and observing people, how breast cancer cells are mutating. Obviously, and something with biomedical is that it always, the cells are mutating, something or the other comes up. So there is no assurance, there's no guarantee. Okay, so obviously the data is changing over there. So for that, the accuracy will decrease. Once it decreases, you again need to train it. This is something that will happen in an automated way. If you connect your data, the training will happen on that data and the model will now be again close to 100% accurate. So all of this is being taken care by machine learning operations, and it brings up all these people. Mr. Subject Matter Expert, Mr. Data Scientist, Mr. Machine Learning Engineer, Mr. Data Engineer, Miss Model Risk Manager, Miss DevOps. Everybody comes under one roof and carries out their experiments. That is, in a nutshell, what MLOps does. This is the theoretical aspect of it. You'll have sufficient time to go through these materials. Okay, please follow our social media platforms. You'll get all the updates over there. Then the interesting part will be when we see an end-to-end process of MLOps, how it actually works and how the execution is done. That is going to help you a lot. Okay. Before I end my part, I would like to mention some references. These are some amazing websites which you have. If you want to learn more about MLOps in detail, I would strongly recommend this PDF. It's an ebook that I have. It's called Oh Really MLOps. This is one of the finest materials that I've had access to. It's an amazing. I guess it's available as a free resource. You can just type this. Okay, it's Oh Really MLOps. I would ask everybody to make a note of this. It's the fourth reference I'm talking about. Just take down the name of the PDF. This is a very, very important PDF. It gives you a complete idea of MLOps. Okay, please remember, guys, MLOps is the next big thing. MLOps in the industry is the next big thing. There could be an MLOps engineer who would do all these tasks all by himself. Imagine what value this person will have in the industry. Okay, so that is why it is a buzzing topic, and it is one of the most intriguing concepts in machine learning. I am I've been starting with my data science and machine learning projects. It's been a little bit more than 1.5 years, maybe 2 years of experience that I have. And machine learning operations, when I started doing research on it, it gave me goosebumps as to how amazing it can be. So I'm sure you will feel the same. With that, I would like to wrap up and thank you for your time. Feel free to learn, guys. That's all that our organization is about. We share knowledge, and it would mean a lot to us if you guys, learn, evaluate. And like machine learning, there is always going to be change in data, but we'll always be there to monitor you and train you. All the best, guys. Over to you, sir. Thank you.